Okay, so this one time there was this guy named Dr. Frankenstein.
And he was all, I'm going to make a monster.
So he dug up a corpse,
Found a brain.
and filled them both with enough electricity to power Cleveland.
It's alive! It's alive! And what do you know? The monster was a monster. He was all... And soon enough, the townspeople found out about the monster.
So they teamed up with the doctor to hunt him down.
To the old mill!
And the monster's all like...
And the townsfolk are all like... And then the monster's like... Wait, dear townspeople! I'm a horrible beast. It's true. But my actions are but a product of a society that would rather hold me at arm's length than embrace me. You call me a monster. But ask yourself, who's really the monster here? Burn him alive! Kill the monster!
Hey, happy Halloween, everybody watching Catfish Weekly. Have a little fun with the intro this morning. I am Josh, the weekend angler, Dr. Joshenstein for tonight, and we have the Captain C. Had, Fields to Water.
I wonder why I was the freaking monster.
Because I made the video.
I mean, I'm obviously the brains of this operation.
But, you know, that's whoever makes a video, whoever writes history tells a story, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm on the wrong side of history here.
Hey, one of the things I used to like to do when I was younger, used to watch Tales from the Crypt. Do you remember Tales from the Crypt?
I loved Tales from the Crypt.
And it would do that intro, and it was like going around through everything, and it would always...
Exactly, Christina.
Yeah. Poor Chadenstein. But at the end of that intro, at the intro of Tales from the Crypt, it would always go to that one little guy. You remember him? And he'd pop up out of that casket and go,
Yeah.
Well, we got him tonight.
Hey!
Hey! What do you guys do? I leave you for a couple of weeks, and this is what I come back to.
We warned you.
Great job on the intro, man. That was awesome.
Did we not warn him, Josh?
I told him, yeah. Yeah, Tales from the Crypt, man. It was an awesome story. Awesome show. It
was just really fun, and I'm glad to see you guys doing some new stuff. I wanted to jump in here tonight, and I've been getting a lot of messages and comments and things from people. Hey, Ray Smith, number 29 months. Thank you so much, Ray.
Thank you, Ray.
About how I was doing, and we talked about that here a while back, and after it was, I don't know if it was. Don't think it was on a show. I think it was just us talking. That first round of shots I got, they really didn't do much. It helped a little bit, but I was still having lots and lots of trouble. And last Tuesday we went back in and they done the other side. And within a couple of days, it was a whole lot better. It actually fixed what wasn't fixed before. I go out and catch bluegill and for something to do, because I only make like 3 casts. I had to sit down, back hurts bad. I couldn't stand to make the 4th cast. Well, now I'm able to go out there for an hour at a time and without too much. And I'm not walking on rough things or anything. I'm really trying to take care of it till it gets back to where it needs to be. But I can fish for an hour at a time and I have to sit down. And it's been a wonderful deal. And I think, honest to God, I think it has to do with a lot of how it's not getting healed as quick as it normally does is due to the fact that I'm getting older. But it's still working, and that's still better. I'm going in there and scraping bones and putting pieces in that didn't naturally come with your body and stuff like that. So if it'll last the 2 years that it normally does, I'll be happy with that, and we'll go through it again. And then in the meantime, I'm looking forward to getting back on here with you guys. I know we got some guests coming up that I'm really excited about, and I'm sure that you guys are, and we'll have some fun with that. But you guys are killing it, man. I'm very proud of you guys and what you're doing. with
I'm
the
glad,
show.
I'm glad you're doing better.
Yeah,
Feeling better.
well, we'll get to go fishing one of these days
Yeah.
while Doc resets home. How about that?
We need to go fishing about the time his water turns solid.
That's right. And by the way, I love the Dockery look you got with the ponytail and the hat. That looked badass.
It's Halloween. I figured I'd dress up as Dockery. So
There's no better joke than him.
My poor little buddy. I can't believe you all treat that little fella like that.
Yeah, that's a fact. Well, listen, guys, have a great show. I know you got an awesome topic for tonight, and I'm going to sit back, lean back, and watch you guys, and have a great show.
All right. Hope that swelling in your butt shots that they gave you went down. Have a good night.
See you, buddy.
Oh, well. It's always nice to see that young fella. I am glad that he's starting to feel a little bit better. You know, I don't know why they would have gave him a shot in one side of the butt, not the other at the same time. But
I know.
At least he's getting better. Josh, what do you say we say hi to folks real quick? We already got over 60 people watching.
We got 61 people watching already. Yeah, sounds
good. I'm all the way up at the top right now. We've got
that'll work.
Pontoon Jody Catfishing was in here first. We got Sampy was in here second. 922 Crappie Barbecue, the great and wonderful Mr. Fields to Water.
Thank you, D.
We got member Brian B. Catfishing. Do you know what that B stands for? Bubbles. We got rigging for fatties. Almost mispronounced it. We got LG Bass. We got member Get Hooked on D Fishing. Thanks again for the super chat, dear. Love you forever. Hold on. I got no chat. There it goes. We got Miss Melissa. We got Downtown Ernie Brown. Sean Abney. We got FOA Customs and Gear. It's Mr. Freddie. Bumping Mike Greenwell. Rowdy Royal. Catfishing with Cause. Joe Newman. Brad Bex. James Allball. Mark Barnum. Member Catfishing Crappie. We got the great Miss Christina Dunnigan. We got Mr. Member Danny Stone Outdoors. There's Mr. Buck Williams. He sent me a disturbing image the other day.
Did he?
Yeah. Hey, Junior Proctor, Blue Dog Fishing.
Hey, Junior.
Good to see you. Been a minute, my friend. We got Chad Thomason. And as Lyle said, Mr. Ray Smith, member for 29 months. Goober Time Guide Service. Rods and Reloads. The 18th favorite son. Good to see you. We got Lance McCoo Guy, the cool guy. Michelle from It's All Mine. Stonefly 71. Buckeye Catfishing. The wonderful Miss Cindy Stokes. And there's Mr. Catfish Weekly himself. Catfish and Dreams, Guerrero Bagre. Sean T. Outdoors. There was a lot of chatting while we were introing.
There was a whole lot of chat while we were introing.
We got Nebraska Wildcats. Member Uptown Chrissy Brown. And I think I'm to the bottom.
And Mark said he's going to be watching from the Mark's been banished to the garage. We're not even 10 minutes into the show, and Sheila kicked him out.
I can't blame her.
I don't blame her. She's a saint.
You know, if I had a garage, Dee would probably banish me out there, but
it's fun.
You know, it is
butterflies and sunshine.
Why does Chad sound like an old ESPN sportscaster rattling off sponsors?
He's got to get that real gravelly voice, and we're just gonna talk. Yeah.
Tonight's episode of Catfish Weekly brought to you by Lyle Stokes Geriatric Jig Company. Krampus canes. All right, anyway.
He ain't paying attention. But Chad, you know, we had a cold front move through here this weekend.
Buddy.
And
is getting freaking cold out there
Cold.
right now.
I mean, Friday, it got up to 80, 85 degrees. And it was 80 degrees most of the evening. Saturday, that front started pushing through. We had just kind of a cool, fall time rain. And man, once that front went through, we got just north winds, cooled off. I think it was 30 something degrees this morning when I got up.
It's gonna be 28 here tonight, and
And that's what I say.
lows. Yeah,
we're supposed to be in the 20s tonight. So, that gets a lot of the time. That kind of signals the beginning of the end for some people who don't do, maybe can't take their boat out in the wintertime because their water freezes.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe you just don't, maybe you switch to, hunting or whatever, for whatever reason that people put their boats away and they don't get them out till spring. And if you don't take care of things, come springtime, you're going to have a lot of mess. You're going to have a lot of frustration. And so we're going to be talking tonight. We're going to go through a checklist of things to keep track of and to get handled before you put your boat away. That way, when it starts warming up in the springtime, you go out, get your boat, take it to the lake. You know it's going to fire up. You know it's going to run, and it's going to act right. Everything's going to be working the way it should.
Well, can I say one thing before you really get into these checklists? Because this might not even be on your checklist, because you might be somebody like me that doesn't winterize a boat, because I'm going to be out there all winter long. And the first thing you do when you are backing into a water that looks a little icy is check that. You might really want to check what you're backing into, because
throw a rock,
throw something, because you will tear up the boat.
Oh,
so.
Yeah, absolutely. Ice is destructive. I mean, ice took out the Titanic. Just remember that ice took the Titanic down.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it about took the Chantanic down that day.
Yeah.
When I backed into it, I tore my lower end and my trailer lights, and I busted it all up that day.
Oh.
Joys of being a new boat owner, I guess.
Oh, that's part
You
of
live
it. But no, I'm like you. I take mine out all during the winter. But I have certain motors and certain boats that they just don't go out in the wintertime. The John boat's one of them.
Yeah.
The places I fish, what I do, I'm probably not going to take the John boat out. In this case, this year, I picked up a different John boat. I haven't started working on it yet because I'm making that a fall and winter project. So might as well go and winterize the motor. So I've pulled that 15 horse tiller steer Johnson into the garage, and we're going to actually walk through winterizing that today.
Ooh.
So we're gonna cover a lot of ground on it. We got to move a little bit fast, but we can do it.
We got this.
Oh, let's see here. Buckeye said he ordered rubber plugs to plug all the holes in the boat for fishing the river in cold weather. That's a good idea. Water's cold.
I think that's seriously. I think it is something we should go ahead and touch on while you're getting ready to do that. Is even when you are, say around 40 degrees, this cool, thinner air, making sure if you're fishing right now and you go to leave that ramp, that you're draining your prop and your lower end and all that out really well before you leave, because there's a thing called wind chill. When you're driving 60, 70 miles an hour down the interstate home, guess what? That little bit of water can freeze up inside your motor. So that would be my tip number one.
Yeah,
right
that is a good one. I mean, water's going to be your worst enemy this time of year, especially as we move into the winter. So, but cold can also be an enemy. Cold can also be an enemy to you. And I'm trying to find where I've set something. Let me grab it real quick.
All right.
Because actually, before we get onto the motor, which don't get me wrong, the motor is an important part.
Mm-hmm.
Batteries. Cold weather will kill a battery.
What?
Cold weather kill a battery deader than a hammer.
No way.
So
Great.
I've got my John boat deep cycle marine battery here. I've took it out of the boat. It's in the garage. And you can find where I've set it here. had that out and set it down. I don't know where I put it. There it is.
I'm actually going to give you.
Harbor Freight. Everybody knows I like Harbor Freight. You can pick these things up. Hi.
I'm going to switch this over here so everybody's looking at you more than me.
You can pick these things. Whoa, hello. Don't throw it. You pick these little chargers up, little charger and maintainer, automatic, for about $5 or $6. Get you one of those. It plugs in, clamps go on your battery, and it provides a 500 milliamp. That's 1/2 of 1 amp. Provides a 500 milliamp automatic charge. And to keep your battery topped off all winter, just take black to the negative, red to the positive. And hard to tell, but that little light comes on.
That's it.
Let's see here. There we go. And that is now maintaining that battery.
Jody wants to know, does all of these tips that we're going to talk about apply to all motors?
A lot of what we talk about is going to apply to just about everything. There are things specific to your motor, but a lot of this, Shanti, you're right. Harbor Freight stocks are good to go. But, a lot of, there are motor specific, manufacturer specific guides. We're going to try to cover the general ones today, and they're going to work on anything. So, number one tip, take care of your battery. Put that thing, get it on charge, good to go. So, Chad, if you want to bring us back, I'm going to switch cameras and see if I can get back over. There we go.
All right.
And I will get things.
Does your garage have to be climate controlled?
Does your garage have to be climate controlled? No. You're going to, insulation's good, but it's not the best. You're going to bleed a little heat from the house. And, the sun's going to warm the roof. It's going to bleed into the garage. It's always warmer in the garage than it is outside. So my Dockery hat's coming off.
Ooh, he's getting serious now, folks.
I ain't had hair in a long time. I don't know how to deal with it. So,
well, ever since Lyle left the show, mine just came right back in. I don't know if it's less stress or what.
There we go. Give me just a second here.
All right, you do that, and I'm gonna say hi to Mr. Parker Pursuits and Real Time Catfishing. Justin's fishing fetish has made it in. Good to see everybody. We're talking about some winterizing your boat type of stuff here tonight. Josh is in the middle of switching cameras, and we will be right back with you. In the meantime, you can see this hair. I decided to let my hair grow out, for the winter time. It keeps me a little bit warmer. There we go.
There we go. All right. So let's get that turned around. Everybody can see it. That is a 9.9. This motor is actually a Johnson 9.9. It has been converted to a 15 horse. Truly and honestly, it's probably pushing about 12 to 13 because they did do on the 81 models and up, they did a tuned port exhaust. If you don't have that exhaust tube, which I don't, you'll never get the true 15 out of it, but you get close. So we're going to take the cowling off that motor, set it aside. And the first thing we're going to be working on, let me try to get a little closer here without getting all over my microphone cable. All right, there we go. All right, we can kind of see it now. Quit wobbling. We're going to take spark plugs out of this motor just for a moment.
Okay.
So we'll pull our top plug, bottom plug. Let me get those out.
removal of the spark plugs.
All right. So we'll take a look at those. You know, we got to, let me try to find something a little bit lighter colored to show them off. So go ahead and try to just kind of get a read on your spark plug. You're wanting to look for any signs of damage. This would be a good one for Lyle to bring in. If we can get him in here, Lyle talk about reading spark plugs. But, look for any signs of damage. Make sure they have a wet look to them. Make sure they're not fouled. You want to replace those if they're any of those things. These are good. They were new last season, and this motor didn't get run a whole lot. Lower cylinder, they got a little bit of gas oil mix on them, both of them. So I know my cylinder's getting fuel, which means it's getting lubrication. Let me get my handy dandy spray can open here real quick.
What kind of spray can you got there?
We got some Seafoam spray.
Okay.
This is top engine cleaner and lubricant. Basically, it's the pour-in Seafoam in an aerosol format.
Okay.
And this stuff will also work wonders as a fogging oil. And by fogging,
fogging.
Fogging means we're going to coat the inside of the cylinder, and we're going to spray it with this. This is going to prevent any type of rust from forming. The good thing is while your motor's sitting in your garage all winter long, that Seafoam is going to be doing its job, and it's going to be eating carbon. It's going to eat the carbon off the top of the piston. It's going to eat the carbon off your rings if it seeps that way. And so when you start this motor in the springtime, it's going to smoke a little bit, but that's okay. That's your carbon burning off. So we'll take the long spray hose here. We'll put that up in that top cylinder. We'll give it a couple seconds. There we go. Now we're going to go to that bottom cylinder. We'll do the same thing. There we go. And now we're just going to turn that motor over by hand. Since you don't have spark plugs in it, you have no compression. You can just turn that one-handed, turn that motor over. And we'll let that piston, let that piston move up and down the cylinder. We'll give it just a little another shot here, just to make sure we got enough in there.
And Lyle said they both look really good, Josh.
See, there we go. I trust Lyle to read spark plugs. Absolutely, hands down. Every day and twice.
I've seen him read other things, and I was second guessing.
So we've turned that motor over by hand. That's made that piston go up and down in the cylinder. Now, any of that, all that spray, we've got a good light coating of oil or Seafoam on the inside of that cylinder. So we are now good to go ahead and put spark plugs back in. Get in there. There's always one. Have you noticed that? There's always one who wants to be a bear, but it's in now. If you're young, and then we'll tighten them down. If you're young, get a torque wrench. When you get older, you don't need a torque wrench no more. Like your wrist to pop about 20 foot-pounds, your elbow will pop at 40. So there we go. There's one. There's two. Check that top one again. We're good. We'll put our spark plug wires back on. Put them on the correct plug, or you will have all kinds of problems. It'd be hard to mess up on this 2-cylinder motor. They're going in the opposite directions. Kind of hard.
What could happen? What would happen if you had them backwards, Josh?
Well, if you had them backwards, when one's ready to fire, the spark's going to go into the other cylinder.
Well, that wouldn't be good.
which is, not full of fuel air mix. So then you'll crank all day, your arm will fall off and your motor would never fire up. And if it does happen to fire up off of residual, it's going to run horribly. So now we can spin the motor around.
Creole says, remember, if you see tiny silver specks on the electrode, it's time to back off the nitrous a bit. If you're talking, Josh, I think you just muted yourself. So, or you pulled something out. I'm not sure what you did. What's up, Mr. Maurice? Buckeye says, put new plugs in every spring. They're cheap insurance. Josh is trying to figure out his headphones there. You're still muted, sir.
All right.
There you go. You're back.
Okay, cool. My computer muted me. I don't know why. It didn't like me. He's right. Spark plugs are cheap. It's not, it costs you on a motor like this, cost you under $10. You'd have 2 new spark plugs in it. The BUHWs that my Mercury runs, they run, $3 or $4 a plug. You got 6 of them, you're still looking under $30. It's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea to put them in. But you can save a little bit of money. If they're in good shape, you're not hurting nothing to reuse them. So let me get the thing up here. Okay. That is the air breather on this particular outboard. And we're going to take the screws out of the top of this air breather, and that'll give us access to the carburetor. So give me just a moment here. There's one.
I don't know, but is it me or does Josh's little motor here look like it's freaked out because it's getting worked on? I see 2 eyes, a worried mouth right there at the bottom. Like,
oh no.
Ooh, it's scary.
All right.
Hey, Solo Texan Adventures, what's going on? Yeah, I got the Bosley done over the weekend. That's why you didn't see me on the water.
Let's see if I can get this up here and make it work.
Right, Brad? Now you can't unsee it, can you?
All right. Come here, you. There we go. All right. So I'm going to stick a screwdriver down there so I can show you guys where it's at. We don't really need to go any further than we are now.
Okay.
Because there is a hole right down there where that screwdriver's at. And I know it's hard to see. Trust me, it's there. And that hole leads straight into the throat of the carb. So just like before, we're going to take our seafoam.
Okay.
We're going to take our long straw there. Oh, now we are going to put the motor into forward. We're going to open the throttle up all the way. And that is going to open that throat of the carb. That's going to open that butterfly at the back of the carb all the way open. Our choke is off. We'll take our long straw. Get that up in there. We're going to give it about another 2 or 3 second spray. As soon as it gets where it needs to go.
Now, Josh, just curious though, is this a 2-stroke? Is this kind of the procedures for a 2-stroke or a?
This is a 2-stroke, but everything I've done so far, you could do on a 4-stroke too. And probably ought to be doing.
Okay.
So we've give that a little bit. Now, fuel injected motor, you're going to have to probably skip this part because it uses fuel injectors and not a carburetor. So
gotcha.
There's our difference. You got fuel injected motor, can't really do that. We gave that a spray of seafoam. So now we have the cylinder coated. We've got all that seafoam in there. We have the throat of the carb, and we've got seafoam working in there. and we can put this back together, put this breather back on. Just
And
kind of
Creole. Sorry, go ahead.
just kind of snug those up. And then just like tightening lug nuts, just work at a crisscross pattern. Anytime you have a plastic piece with more than one screw holding it down, just get them snug. Then go back and hit them and do a crisscross pattern. That'll keep it from getting warping while it's going in, or God forbid you crack it, because some of these are hard. You just can't get those anymore.
Creole's asking any particular tips or things to look for with the newer EFI outboards.
With the newer EFIs, you can still do the cylinders like we did. Pull the spark plugs, spray the cylinder, spin it around. That's still gonna coat that. You're gonna be looking more at a fuel additive, so like a marine stay-bill, or I like Startron. It comes in a blue bottle. It's cheap. It works good. And just run treated fuel. And I run Startron every tank. I know I've probably talked it to death. They ought to sponsor me by now, but I like Startron. I've been very happy with how it's worked. So now that that's in there, we can throttle back, pull that thing back into neutral, throttle down. That's good to go. Top end of the motor is now pretty well done. We could take, I think we're actually going to the little pinion gear on the starter. That's going up a nylon shaft when it comes up. We can give that a little shot of white lithium grease.
I knew that's what you were going to say. His whole garage is going to be lit up with white lithium grease here in a minute.
Nope, because you just go boop, done.
He says done, and next thing you know, it's everywhere.
No, that's like anti-seize, man. Anti-seize is horrible. There we go. All right, so that's good there. That's done. Don't really need to mess with anything else. Take a look while you're in there. It's a good time before you put it up. It's a good time to look at your fuel lines. Yay, there we go. I'm trying to watch the camera on my laptop and follow along.
You're doing great.
There you've got your supply line coming up to the fuel pump. It's that infamous little OMC square body fuel pump everybody loves to hate. We got our other line coming up out of that fuel pump going up to throw the carb. Everything looks good. That is a fuel line there that is rated. I replaced those factory lines with ones that were rated for low temps, so I didn't have to worry about cracking. And the top end of this motor is pretty well done. So let's go ahead and put the cowling back on. Snap that on there. There we go. This motor and I same age, so we got an agreement. It's good to me, and I'm good to it. So
wow, that motor's old.
Imagine if it was a motor as old as Lyle. I'd have to buy hay for it, build it a barn. And,
yeah.
So the next step, I got me a little bucket here.
Is that oatmeal?
Well, if you want to eat it, you can, but it's kitty litter.
Ew.
We got some kitty. Don't worry, it's pretty fresh.
Lyle likes kitty litter because he loves cats.
He likes cats. Lyle is a cat person.
He is.
So we're going to go down here to the floor. Look at that. Come on, back up just a bit because I want to see everything.
Perfect, I think, right about there.
All right. There we go.
Up just a little bit. Down, up, left.
Up, down. Can you see everything? Yep.
Yeah, we can see it all.
There and there is what we're going to be looking at.
Yep.
I've done this. We did a show a while back about boat maintenance or boat motor maintenance. And I took and changed the lower unit oil on a Mercury 150 lower unit.
Mm-hmm.
And when we did that, I got the pump and I got that pump out, put it on, screwed it to the top of the quart of oil, and we did that. And so I know we have a show where we did that. So this time we are actually going to try, bear with me because I've never used this, but I figured it'd be, we'll do it live. And so if it ends up being a disaster, you guys are going to see it. I'm going to tell you right now, don't buy it, but we're going to give it a shot. I bought some of this gear lube in a tube here. And the way this works, that tube goes right up in that drain hole, and you just squeeze the hell out of it until you start seeing gear lube come out of the vent. Once you see gear lube come out of the vent, you know you're good to go. So let's go ahead. Before we do that, we need to drain this lower unit. If you have a tiller handle Johnson, let me get this up here real quick. If you have a tiller handle Johnson of this era, the standard screw down here is your drain plug. This one here is not. It's Phillips head. Leave that one absolutely alone. You will mess up your lower unit. Your marine mechanic, your local marine mechanic will love you because you'll buy his kids braces or something. So we're going to take our long screwdriver, get up here. Sometimes these don't like to come out. This time it did. And before we start this draining, I'm going to tell you, we're going to watch for signs of water. We're going to watch for any type of major debris. By major debris, I mean big chunks of metal. Any of those are going to be signs of major problems. We'll know we'll have to actually have this lower unit looked at by a certified mechanic before we use it again.
Josh,
water. Yes.
Yeah, you might be getting ready to say it, but can you tell people what you mean by signs of water?
That's what I was getting ready to do.
What's it look like for them?
It's going to look like milkshake. If this stuff comes out of here, a little bit of water is okay. It's a little bit of seepage. You have hot, cold inside a sealed area. You actually have condensation forms. Okay. So that's not a big deal. What we're looking for is a ton of water to come pour out of this thing. If that's happened, we know we've lost a seal, and that's bad. Okay. So if you've ever seen the rainbow on the parking lot,
yep,
that's oil mixing with, or water, lots of water mixing with a little bit of oil. This will look like water in a lower unit oil. A little bit of water is going to look like a milkshake. So you could always expect to see a little bit of it. A lot would be a bad thing. All right, that screw is right there, ready to come out.
This part that you're doing right now, to me, is something I think people should do at the end, of every year. Would be a good idea to check.
This is one to do every year before the first hard freeze, if you can manage. There we go. This looks like good oil. This actually looks real good.
To me, even if you get to where you're like me and you fish year round, and it doesn't matter, January, February, you're out there in the boat. If you have water in that lower unit, in your gear oil, you have a time like last year where we had that freaking -10, -20 degree burst came through. Water in your lower end is probably not going to be a good thing.
It's going to freeze it up, and it'll crack that. Water expands when it freezes. And this is, like I said, this is a sealed unit. So if this has water in it and it freezes and it expands, it will pop your seals. That water will go somewhere. That's hydraulics. Yeah. That is hydraulics 101. This was probably due for a change. Actually, I honestly don't remember if I changed it last year. The good thing is the oil don't look bad. You can get your finger full of oil, sniff it.
You're sniffing your lower end?
Sniffing your lower end. There we go. And it will, you know, one that's got problems going to smell real strong as sulfur. It's going to just flat out, you know, once you've smelled it, you'll never forget it. It stinks. This just smells like worn oil. It's fine. So we're going to allow that to drain. And while that's draining, I'm going to move over to the computer, switch cameras, and we'll take some questions if anybody has one, and then I'll keep an eye on that. We'll bump back to it when we
Sounds good.
get done there. All right, there we go. Yay.
I was saying, looks like you got a bright idea.
Yeah, I got a bright idea. It's alive. Creole right there. He said, remember, if ice could crack a cast iron engine block, an aluminum lower unit has zero chance. That water will find a place to go.
Yeah, that's what I was saying though. I think that last thing you're talking about for anybody's boat, you know, whether you're going to use it all winter or not, I think big for anybody to make sure, even if you do it in the springtime, you do it in the fall as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I like to do it in the spring and the fall. What do you do with cat litter? Really all that's doing is just soaking up the oil. And then I throw it in the trash. Right or wrong, don't hate on me. I'm going to dump it right in the trash bag, trash days tomorrow, and it will go to the landfill. And I promise that 9 ounces of oil I'm sending to the landfill is nothing compared to what all your industrial places are sending. So
True.
Yeah, 922, absolutely, right there. That black sludge at the bottom of the lake that comes up with your anchor, that's what it smells like. If your lower unit oil smells like that crap, it's bad. Yeah, that is the perfect example. It's just that old sulfur methane stink.
That's some rotten stuff right there.
Stripper glitter. And that's the thing, look for glittery oil, look for signs, that's a little bit's going to happen. I mean, a little bit of glitter, the oil is doing its job. As gears mesh gears mesh, as they turn, as they work, you are going to have fine, very, very fine shavings. The oil's job is to take that away and make it where it doesn't do any more damage. And that's exactly what it's doing. If you start seeing, I always look for chunks or a ton. I mean, if it comes out looking like a glitter bomb, you've got some problems. If you see chunks coming out of it, you really got some problems. One of the things, I'll run my fingers through the oil, run it between your fingers like that. Doesn't hurt nothing. And feel for sharp pieces. Sharp pieces are chunks. Glitter is not going to have a feel. You're not going to feel it. Now I feel like Mark counting money. Look at that. But Brad Beck said, I missed it earlier in the show, drain, blow out all your bilge and aerator lines. That is true. That's going back to the boats. Drain your live well. Get your air hose, whatever you got to do. Blow that out. You can dump you a little bit of RV antifreeze down there. You don't have to, but you can. Let's see. Creole. Yes, a lot of the field plugs. This one actually doesn't have one. I looked at that when I pulled it off. I was hoping it was. The magnetic drain plugs, they'll catch any type of metal, any type of ferrous metal chunks that come down, and they'll be stuck to that magnet on drain plug, kind of like on your when you change the oil in your car. You've got that down there. It's just it's just something to keep an eye out for. So we'll let that go. We'll let that thing. It is drained. So I forgot how quickly those drain. One of the
there's not a lot. There's not a
whole lot of oil in those. So we're going to switch back over.
All right.
There we go. Got my extra long mic cord here.
Wow.
So it has pretty well drained off. We've got a little bit. We'll wipe that off there. Up here at the top, I don't know if you guys could see that or not, Chad. It's hard to tell on my monitor. Can you see the little blue washer right there? I'm way too high.
Oh, yeah, you're way too high. There you go. Yeah, I see it.
Okay. That little blue washer, if that is missing from the top or the bottom, it needs to be replaced. And they're cheap. They're drain screw seals.
Yeah.
And that keeps this thing doing what it's supposed to do. So we got that.
I'm so glad you cleaned that up, man. I kept thinking it looked like never mind, I won't say that. I won't say whose underwear it looks
Well,
like.
I wanted to get up there and make sure that there's a seal in that thing. Obviously it is. Yep, there is. Otherwise we would have had a ton of water, but we don't.
Yeah, I was gonna say a lot of the kits and stuff, like, you know, when I buy them, even off of Amazon, when I had my Mercury, they come with brand new seals. It's probably a great idea just to use the brand new seal that comes with it.
All right, so we've got our drain plug. This in this particular model, the vent and the drain plug, there's no difference. So chances are somebody lost the drain plug a long time ago and replaced it with a vent screw, but it's going to work. So we'll back that off just a bit. Get that up there. We've got our tube of Mercury XPS Marine. I'm sure that's got to probably be Mercury. Maybe not. XPS. No, that's a brand. BRP. Okay, so this is actually XPS Marines made by Bombardier Recreational Products. That's OMC. So this is a factory gear lube for this one. This is a 90 weight marine oil. Don't go to the parts store, the auto parts store, and buy 90 weight gear oil that you would put in a car. It's not meant for this. So we're going to cut the tip off this bottle.
Creole said this reminds me of the old Shade Tree Mechanic show.
That was a good show. I liked that show. All right. So we got the tip of that. We got some new oil on there. You see it's clear. No smell, no nothing. And what we're going to do, we'll shove that up in there. And we're just going to squeeze the heck out of that tube of oil. I've got my drain plugs. I know y'all can't see them, but I got my drain plugs right here because we're going to have to be fast on the fingers when we pull this out to get that drain screw put back in. So
Curtis Cunningham said, what kind of boat do you run that outboard on?
This one goes on my John boat. It's a 1648, and I don't even know the brand. I don't know if anybody knows the brand on that one. But I'm just rolling this tube up like a thing of toothpaste, forcing that oil out, just going slow. Don't sit there and try to do it in 5 seconds.
Well, I'd assume, especially with something like that, though, the slower you go, the more it spreads evenly and creates less air pockets in it.
Yeah,
right?
you don't want an air bubble in there or anything.
Creole says that's the same stuff for the Can-Am ATVs.
Did you see
come at the top? Yep, there it goes.
We got to come out the top. As soon as it comes out the top, you know you're full. We got clean oil coming out up there. We're going to go 1, 2, 3. Get in there.
That's always the part I hate. It's like,
tighten that down.
Buckeye Catfishing says if you put the top plug in first, it holds the oil.
There we go. We got that one done. And we put the top one in now. That's our vent. We'll tighten that one down. And you don't crank on them. Just snug them down. Give them a little bit. I'm not cranking on those things like a bear. There we go. Take your old nasty rag. Wipe that thing off. And most importantly now, keep an eye on this thing. If you're going to store it, put it. It won't hurt. Put a paper plate under it or something. Put a few paper towels under it or something. That way you can watch for leaks. But we're going to eyeball it for now, just for a minute or two. We've got no signs of leaks. I did miss the bucket and got a little bit of oil on the floor.
I won't tell Christina.
We got our oil right there. Kitty litter doing its job, soaking that oil up. It doesn't stink. It's good to go. I see no signs of leakage on there. And this was a 10 fluid ounce bottle, and we used almost 100% of it. So this was about $6 for this bottle. It's not going to hurt me to throw it in the trash. And we're good to go on that one. So our lower unit's done. We can take, I've had this one outside. We'll take, let me give a second here. We'll go around. Tilt it forward. We don't have any water coming out of the prop or behind in the bearing carrier. So we know it's dry. If it does get sub freezing in my garage, we've got no water to freeze. Look around. This one doesn't appear to have any anywhere. I was hoping it did so I could at least show it. I can show my screen.
Woo.
Yep, I don't see any on this one. I was going to say if you have a Zerk fitting. Ooh. Thought that chair was higher than it was. Give me a second. Hey. If you do have a Zerk fitting, which is a fancy term for a grease fitting, take your grease gun with some marine grease. I like the Lucas marine grease. Hit all those grease fittings. You will see them if you have power trim and tilt. They usually have one. If you have remote steering, it's probably got one in there. Give that a little bit of grease. Ain't going to hurt it. Do it every year at this time. You know it's greased. So let's see.
Solo Texas Adventure says, how do you winterize the boat trailer? Just kidding. Great info, Josh. As always. Good job.
Yeah, well, I mean, do your wheel bearings. I mean, I know it was intended as a joke, but not a bad time to go ahead and repack your wheel bearings.
Well,
have you another set packed, and that makes it real easy. Instead of having to repack, take apart, repack, and put them all back together, you can throw new ones on there just as cheap. What if you don't have winter in your area? Asking for a friend, then you're in luck. Still do it in the fall anyway, just because. 922 has the absolute answer. He says, Creole, then you just need to ship your boat to me in the spring, and I'll take care of it. Who says
but
it's time
still
for
good? Like you said, good maintenance to do right now. Never a bad thing to do. Especially if
that's the thing about doing it live. I did a video on this a few years ago. We winterized my buddy's boat, and I cut it down to 2 videos. Somebody come in the comments, and I just take it to a mechanic, and that's by all means, if that's what you're more comfortable with, do it. They're going to look it over. They're going to do it right as long as you have a mechanic you trust. But he's like, because I don't have all weekend to mess with it. Everybody just watch me. I just winterized that thing. It's good to go, and we did it in less than an hour. So,
yeah,
I mean,
that's trying to talk it through, and
and that's talking it through. I could have done it half the time had I. My longest point is waiting for that thing to drain. That's the only thing I have no control over is how quickly the lower unit drains.
Yep.
I mean, maybe I could get in there with an air hose and hit it, but we don't want to be doing that. That's a good way to blow, mess up a seal. So,
well, Jeremy's trying to get banned right now. He'll be going live in January. Hawaiian shirt
with a Hawaiian shirt on. Creole PI. Anybody have any more questions before we finish up this week?
Now, like I said at the very beginning, in case anybody missed it, even if you're not winterizing your boat, every time that you are pulling that boat out of the water during the winter, if you're using it year round, make sure you are lowering that motor, getting the water out of it, blow it out a little bit, for a trip before.
And I did see a comment earlier. Somebody they were right. They said wind chill. The concept of wind chill really does only affect warm-blooded creatures. So, but you can take and get a little water on your windshield and it not be right there on the verge of freezing, and take off driving highway speed and watch and tell me it don't turn to ice.
I will say, as somebody, and I believe I have a video of it, where J-Dog and I had went up river, was coming back, and that water splashing on us, and the wind was hitting us, and everything was freezing. Oh, yeah. I was a sheet of ice when I came through, and it will absolutely, that wind shear will make it.
Oh yeah,
freeze. So
we are moving into the time of year. I know this is totally off subject, but it's not. And it's, even if it is, it's a subject needs touched on. We're moving into the time of year where you really need to, if you're going to be on the water, have your PFD on. Don't take it off, leave it on. It's uncomfortable. Yes, nobody wants to wear one, but this time of year especially, it could save your life.
You're welcome, Joe.
15 horsepower Johnson, first outboard I ever owned 50 years ago. Awesome. What fuel recommended? I recommend Startron. It's made by Starbright. You can get it at Rural King. You can get it at Walmart. Just a little bit per gallon of fuel, and it works on everything. Where I run it in the lawnmower, I run it into boat motors. I run it. I've been known to put it in the cars and the trucks. It's it binds with that, helps keep the water emulsion from going on with the ethanol and the fuel. Creole, absolutely. Hypothermia is a real threat. I wish we had a swimming pool. We're moving into time that you could do the old hypothermia thing. You ever seen the movie? Yeah. What was that movie? The Guardian had Kevin Costner and Ashton Kutcher in it. And they're like, you're just supposed to teach the class on hypothermia. He goes, here in about 10 minutes, they're going to understand it fully. So, yeah, Brad Beck's right. Clothes get soaked in water, a bunch of clothes on, you're not coming up.
Yeah.
That's why you will not see me wear like I've got my muck boots when I'm bank fishing. Big rubber boots. You won't see me wear those in a boat. I don't want those filled with water. Pull me down to the bottom. That's not what way I want to go.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's why I wear my Crocs on the boat.
Yep. Plus they're cool. I like Crocs.
So cool. Well, Josh, we got 8:59. Do you want to? We got any?
We've got a bragging board to show, and we do have some ones that didn't make it in last week that were supposed to, and that was my fault. That's Mikey Greenwell and Stacia Stone. But we've got them added this week along with a few more. So let's take a look at them.
Let's do it.
Howdy, folks. It's time once again to take a look at the Catfish Weekly Bragging Board. This goes through the week of October the 30th, 2023. Leading us off this week, we have Stacia Stone from Danny Stone Outdoors. Stacia caught a 15-pound blue cat out of the Mississippi River. Great fish. Congratulations, Stacia. Up next, we have Bobby of 922 Crappie Barbecue. Bobby come up with a 34-pound flathead. Congratulations, buddy. That's an awesome fish. Our buddy Chris from Hooks and Hammocks spent some time on the Tennessee River and came up with a 26-pound and a 30-pound blue cat while out there fishing. Good job, Chris. And our favorite Hooks and Hammocks member, Miss Telly Lee, came up with a 20-pound and a 33-pound blue cat out of the Tennessee River. Those are great fish, Telly. Congratulations. Miss Marcia from Parker Pursuits came up with a 26-pound blue cat this weekend while bank fishing the Mississippi River. Good job, Marcia. Congratulations. Great fish. Next up, we have Mike from Greenwell Fishing. Mikey come up with a 30-pound blue cat. Mikey's always getting into some big cats. Good job, buddy. Congratulations. And a newcomer to the bragging board this week, we have Justin from That One Guy. Justin sent us in a mess of pictures, multi-species, all caught and released. Great fish, buddy. Thanks for sending in the photos. And closing us out this week, we have Miss Jody from Pontoon Jody Catfishing. Jody caught a 63.6-pound birthday blue cat from the Tennessee River, and later on this weekend caught a 15-pound striped bass. Looks like a great weekend for Miss Pontoon Jody. Don't forget, guys, you too can be featured on the Catfish Weekly bragging board. To be eligible, the fish needs to have been caught within the past 14 days, and we accept pictures of any species of fish. To get yourself or a friend on the bragging board, all you need to do is email your fish photo to pics@theweekendangler.com. Send us the information shown on your screen, and we'll get it on the board for you. Thank you all for watching. Have a great week.
Some awesome fish this week.
Very, very nice fish.
Seemed like everybody been on fire. It seems like the big ones are biting. So I mean, that's kind of halfway makes you wonder if winter isn't going to be here before we know it. So
it might be. It's gonna be cold. I told you it's gonna be cold.
Oh yeah, it's cold.
Yeah, buddy. I hope everybody enjoyed watching tonight. And Josh, you did an amazing job, my friend, as always.
Well, thank you, buddy.
You almost made me believe you knew what you were doing.
I try.
Good job.
Everybody have a happy Halloween tomorrow. Be safe if you're out driving tomorrow evening. Watch for the children. The children do not watch for cars, so we got to do it for them. Don't be the person that ruins somebody's Halloween forever tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
So keep an eye out for the kids.
Yep. All right, everybody have a great rest of your week. Happy Halloween.
See y'all next week.
Have a great week.